Until Big 12 play. Do you like where your team's at? Do you like where it's headed? I mean, do you feel confident going in? I know you have Harvard, but then there's Big 12 play.
Yeah. We need to play well Thursday against Tommy's group, but I think we made some improvement. You're looking at our team, and we say make an improvement, but it's only been over a 3-game stretch. I think we got a little bit better each week so far in December, and hopefully that'll continue until we get Okie State to start it all off.
Curious, during the stretch with no classes, what does the schedule look like for the guys? Is it extra practice, or what are they able to do?
It's really not extra practice. It's probably more extra film. It's we won't spend more time on our feet, but we may spend more time together. And the rules still say you have to give them a day off, and things like that. So it's not a killer, but it's enough. But when you start thinking 20 hours a week, okay, at the most we'll go 2 hours for 6 days. That's 12 hours, and you lift for 3 hours a week. That's 15 hours. You throw film, so that you still have some extra time to watch film and do some different things. Very rarely would we get up against that 20 hours, and especially after the season starts, we won't even sniff getting close to it. Once we get through Christmas break, we'll be a 12 to 15 hour a week team after that.
You talked a lot about wanting the team to improve defensively. How much does a week like this, and even coming back from Christmas, how do you feel like that will help the team overall defensively?
Well, we haven't gotten better defensively since Saturday. We took Sunday off, and yesterday we were okay. But we need to continue what we've been doing. The one thing that I have noticed, and I'm sure you guys have too, whether the traps are great, whether our rotations are great, which they're not yet, we give up 9 points just on bad rotations. We play at a much higher energy level when we're trapping. And so, I don't know that we'll ever have 17 steals in the game again, but you don't get those if we don't trap the post, because everybody was flying around. So, and then you talk about, shooting a decent percentage. Guys, he blocked 9 of our layups. And to still shoot, 52% for a game, that means that you're probably scoring some when he didn't have the opportunity to block them in transition, and transition was strictly because of, steals and turnovers. So I like the fact that we see more turned up.
We just talked to Bobby a minute ago about the defense and the improvement, and I asked him if he's feeling some love from the coaching staff about where your defense is. He said they'll give us a little credit. Do you have to walk a line there? I mean, you don't want them to feel too good about it, but you do want them to feel like they're making progress. How do you manage that?
I would like to think that I'm brutally honest with them. If we're bad, they know it, and if we're good, I tell them we're good. So Bobby will also tell you that if you watch the tape's never as good as what you thought it was, and it's never as bad as what you thought it was. The tape, even though you may think it's awful, you watch and say, well, we kind of were unlucky here, this happened. Defensively the other day, we were good, but we still had 10 possessions where we were awful, sorting in transition, even if they didn't score. Rotations, slow. So there's a lot of things that we can do to improve on, but I do think we're making progress. And I want them to know that we're making progress, and I also want them to know that it's actually a fun way to play when we're turned up like that. And I think they're getting that.
And you've had 20 teams here, so you don't have to go through all of them, but where is this team defensively at December 20th? Do you have any feel for that?
I think the one thing that's made this team look different is Kevin. Mm-hmm. Kevin. We knew what we had in Juan. We knew what we had in J. Will. KJ, we had an idea what we knew we had, and Grady's gotten better. But Kevin's the one guy that covers up for everybody's mistakes. He's the one guy that can be in strong help and talk and sort and create a switch where Trace isn't open or doesn't look like he's open. And so therefore they reverse the ball to the other side of the floor. He's the one guy that sees it better than anybody else. And so I think that we're certainly better now than what we were a month ago. But when you start talking about some of the best teams we've had, I mean, God, we've been in the top 10 in the nation field goal percentage defense 8-10 times since we've been here. I mean, so, you know, that freshman team with Mario, you guys could look this up, the freshman team with Mario, Julian, and Brandon, they were freshmen. I think we had the best field goal percentage defense since Georgetown in the 1980s. I mean, so let's not get carried away that this team is all this and all that yet defensively, but I do think that we're gaining on it. And if a big can come through to kind of give us a protect the rim type presence like Zuby did the other day, it adds a whole new dimension to us.
With Kevin, is that natural? Is that taught over his career? I mean, where does that instinct come from?
Well, I think he's got great instincts, which you can't teach. I mean, but I think he's been very well drilled and coached. So at Tech, I think that Chris and Mark coached him in a way that makes it natural for him to be the things he is defensively.
I know you mentioned Grady getting a little better on the defensive end, and something that Bobby brought up, him becoming more of a two-way player. Can you talk a little bit about his development on that end and kind of what you've seen and how he's gotten better and kind of what he still has to do as a freshman and as a player overall?
Well, he's, you know, the goal with all players is to be a player, not just one-dimensional. And there's some guys that are one-dimensional defensively, and you know, I never wanted him to get labeled as a shooter, and he doesn't either. And he's not. He's much more than that. He's a player. And but the one area more than anything he probably needed the most work on was defensively, details, not board's not the right word, but he can lose a man, you know, 20 seconds into a shot clock with the best of them a couple of 6 weeks ago. So he's doing better at that. You know, understanding that every dribble when your man's in the corner's back door, you know, understanding all those things he's getting better at. Not great, but you know, Ochai still struggled with that, you know, and CB did too. So, but compared to where he was a month ago, I'd say since Atlantis, I think he's made great improvement. And the other thing is, now he got some steals the other day when they just threw the ball to him, but he's in the right place. You know, little things. Race Thompson had an uncontested layup, and Grady fouled him hard and made him make 2 free throws, where 3 weeks ago that was an and one. You know, there's a lot of things that I think he's picking up and doing a much better job of.
What you were talking about earlier with the trapping in the post, has this been one of your better teams in doing that, and how much does Kevin help there?
No, it's not one of the better yet, but Kevin helps a ton. You know, it used to be, I mean, you're too young, okay? So we used to trap every ball screen, and every time the ball went to post, we played too big, so we trapped big, and we weren't good at it. We were really good at it. You know, Sasha and Shady and Darnell, when you came off a ball screen, they'd force you all the way to half court. You know, times have changed in how people play and stuff like that. Really, Virginia is the only team that I've seen hedge a ball screen, or Houston maybe, that hedged a ball screen like we did, you know, 15 years ago. And now, since we're playing 4 guards, you know, you switch more, you do a lot of things differently. It's easier when you're playing 2 bigs, because we would switch 1 through 3, and then we called it fly switch. So if the big guy hedged and they threw it to his man, the other big took him, and he raced back to his guy. I mean, so we were really efficient at that. Well, we don't play that way anymore. So to say that we're good like that would be an overstatement big time. But we actually played the scout report pretty well the other day. And what happens with traps, you don't have to be great at it. But if your first one's pretty good, sometimes it gets people to think about, I'm going to get trapped. And our first one was great. And Trace turned middle, and Kevin was right there. both arms up, we got a steal, and even though they weren't all that good, but that kind of gets people thinking naturally. I mean, who wouldn't think about that? And so that was something that probably helped us out the other day.
Harvard's had great teams under Amaker. What do you look at this team and see?
Well, we're watching them right now. I think they're 7-4, and I don't know what their preseason in the league, second or third in the Ivy, I think, preseason 4, Brian. But yeah, Tommy's got a good team, and we've been trying to play this game for about 3 years now. It's been scheduled, then we had to cancel because of COVID, then we tried to schedule again. I think they're, I can't remember all the details, and so we were excited about the game Thursday, and excited about playing, and we know it's going to be cold, but cold never called off a basketball game before, so as long as we got heat in the building, we'll be playing.
How do you get the guys to concentrate on the game and not going home?
Well, I think that's something that we've actually had a problem with that some years. We haven't been very good always the game before Christmas, going back over time. So I think the guys we're in a pretty good place right now mentally. So I think they should be okay and excited to play. Before they go home. And also we need to play well. Heck, we got 9 more days off before we play again. So this has been a strange, December in that, not very many teams. I bet you we played the least amount of games in December of any team in America. I bet we have. But that's just because of the way the schedule is set up. So, you take away the 31st and the 1st, I mean, that's 29 days in which we played 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. So isn't that right?
Yeah, it's the flip side of the
yeah.
November thing too.
Yeah. So in November we played more
right.
than anybody. So, or just as many as anybody. So we should be excited to play.
If you are able to win, you'll either be number 4 or better with only 1 non-con to go. Is that ahead of schedule of what you envisioned?
I think if we could finish the non-con, obviously excluding Kentucky in January, we could finish the non-con 11-1 with the schedule. That'd be 11-1, right? So with the schedule we had, I think that would be. I don't want to say that's the best we could hope for, because you always hope for never losing. But every one of our coaches would have watched practice and said, if we can get there, that we take that and go to the house right now. So the guys have done pretty well up until this point. But there's no guarantee that you win on Thursday, so you got to keep going.
Do you expect a great crowd, even if it's 20 below or whatever?
Well, first of all, it's not going to be wind chill. I guess it could be. Yeah, we'll have a good crowd, and hopefully if something happens where we have the feeling that it's not going to be because of weather, then hopefully the administration will be creative and figuring out a way how to get some people here. But no, I anticipate our fans turning out just like they always do. Students won't be here, they're gone for Christmas, but I'm sure we'll have a nice turnout.
Real quick, we haven't asked you this yet, I don't think, but what jumps out about the league right now?
I'd say absolutely not one bottom tier team. I watched Oklahoma State the other day, and heck, winning at Wichita State, and the other thing, the reason I bring them up, because they're 6-4, 7. I think they're 7-4, and they lose to Virginia Tech, who's in the top 25. I think it was at Virginia Tech on the last possession or whatever. I mean, Oklahoma State's good. And then you look at, Oklahoma lost to Sam Houston State to start the season. What have they done since then? They rattled off, 7 out of 8 or 7 out of 9 or whatever, and played a good schedule. And the one team that I think has been the most pleasant surprise, though, is West Virginia. I think they're good. I watched a little bit of Huggs' group the other day. They're good, and they're playing the way that he loves to play. So you know, I think that, you know, you knew Texas would be good, you knew Baylor would be good, you knew TCU would be good, you knew Tech would be good. But what makes our league so great is the fact that everybody's good, and certainly it'll be competitive again.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.